60 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, my mother, father, and 2 brothers disappeared without a trace from a locked bridal suite. When my fiancé, an FBI agent, got the call that would explain everything, I realized my entire life had been built on a lie. What could make an entire family vanish on what should be the happiest day of their daughter's life? I'd love to know which corner of the globe you're watching from. And if this story speaks to you, make sure to subscribe. Tomorrow's video is one you absolutely can't miss. The morning of October 14th started exactly how I'd always imagined my wedding day would begin, with golden sunlight streaming through the windows of the Riverside Manor's bridal suite, the smell of fresh coffee and my mother's gentle humming as she steamed my dress. I'm Charlotte Brennan, and I was marrying Marcus Webb, the love of my life, in exactly 4 hours. We'd met 3 years earlier at a charity gala in Boston, where I worked as an event coordinator. Marcus had just transferred to the FBI's Boston field office, and when he accidentally spilled champagne on my dress while trying to avoid a server, he'd apologized so profusely that I couldn't help but laugh. That laugh turned into dinner, which turned into a relationship. That felt like coming home. The bridal suite at Riverside Manor was actually a converted carriage. House on the estate grounds, a charming 2-story building with exposed brick, walls and antique furnishings. My mother, Patricia Brennan, had been fussing over every detail since we'd arrived at 6 that morning. She'd already reorganized the makeup station twice, adjusted the lighting, and sent my maid of honor back to her room 3 times to retrieve things we definitely didn't need. "Mom, we have plenty of bobby pins," I said, watching her count them for the 4th time. "Sarah doesn't need to run back again." My mother looked up, her reading glasses perched on her nose, and smiled that knowing smile that had comforted me through every milestone of my 29 years. "A bride can never have too many bobby pins, Charlotte. Trust me on this." My father, Robert Brennan, sat in the corner armchair reading the morning paper, occasionally glancing up to offer his opinions on matters he knew nothing about, like whether my veil should be cathedral length or fingertip length. He'd already cried twice that morning, once when he saw me in my robe, and once when my mother mentioned the father-daughter dance. "I still think you should reconsider that first dance song," he said from behind his newspaper. "What's wrong with butterfly kisses? That's a classic. Dad, we've been over this. Marcus and I chose The Way You Look Tonight for our first dance. And you and I are dancing to My Girl. It's perfect." "Fine. Fine," he muttered, but I could see him smiling. My brothers, Jake and Noah Brennan, were supposed to be getting ready in the main house with the groomsmen, but they kept finding excuses to stop by the bridal suite. Jake, the older one at 32, had already brought me coffee twice, both times claiming he forgot he'd already delivered one. Noah, 27 and perpetually unable to tie a bow tie, had visited 4 times asking for help with his formal wear. "Charlotte, I swear this thing is defective," Noah said, holding up his undone bow tie for the 5th time that morning. "It's like it unties itself." "That's because you keep pulling on it," I laughed, taking it from him and tying it in one smooth motion. "There. Now stop touching it and go help Jake keep the groomsmen from starting the celebration too early." "Yes, ma'am," Noah saluted playfully, then kissed my forehead. "You look beautiful, by the way. Marcus is a lucky guy." "I'm pretty lucky too," I said, and meant it. The suite was filled with the controlled chaos that comes with wedding day preparations. My bridesmaids were in various stages of readiness. Sarah, my maid of honor and best friend since college, was already fully dressed and helping my younger bridesmaids with their makeup. My cousin Emily was attempting to curl her notoriously straight hair, while simultaneously FaceTiming her husband about their toddler's nap time. The champagne was flowing, soft music played from someone's portable speaker, and every few minutes someone would squeal with excitement or rush over to fix someone else's lipstick. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. At 10:47 a.m., I remember checking the antique clock on the mantel. Marcus called. I could hear the smile in his voice before he even spoke. "How's my beautiful bride doing?" he asked. "Missing you," I admitted. I know it's traditional not to see each other before the ceremony, but I wish you were here. 3 hours and 13 minutes, he said. Then I'm never leaving your side again. We talked for a few minutes about last-minute details. The photographer had arrived early. His best man had successfully retrieved the rings from the hotel safe, and apparently my Uncle George had already started hitting the champagne in the main house. Normal, wonderful, perfectly ordinary wedding day chaos. I love you, Charlotte Brennan, Marcus said. Soon to be Charlotte Webb. I love you too, I replied, and we hung up. At 11:15 a.m., my mother suggested that the bridal party should head to the main house for photos in the garden, while she, my father, and brothers stayed behind to pack up the suite and handle some last-minute coordination with the caterers. This wasn't unusual. My mother was a notorious control freak about events, and I knew she wanted everything to be absolutely perfect. Are you sure you don't need me? I asked. Positive, she assured me, adjusting a stray curl near my face. You go be beautiful for the camera. We'll meet you at the ceremony site in exactly 45 minutes. I hugged her, breathing in her familiar perfume, Chanel No. 5, the same scent she'd worn my entire life. Thank you for everything, Mom. This day is perfect because of you. She held me tight, tighter than usual, actually. You deserve every happiness, sweetheart. Every single bit of it. My father stood and crossed the room, enveloping both of us in his arms. My little girl, he whispered, his voice thick. I'm so proud of the woman you've become. Jake and Noah joined the group hug, making jokes about crushing my dress, and for a moment we all just stood there, my whole family, wrapped around each other in the morning light. If I'd known it was the last time I'd see them, would I have held on longer? Would I have looked closer at my mother's eyes, noticed if they seemed sad behind her smile? Would I have questioned why my father's hug felt like goodbye? But I didn't know. How could I? So I laughed, told them to stop being so sentimental, and left with my bridesmaids for the garden photo shoot. I walked out of that bridal suite at 11:18 a.m., according to the photographer's time-stamped images. My family was alive, together, and preparing to celebrate my marriage. 67 minutes later, they would be gone, and nothing would ever be the same again. The garden photo shoot took longer than expected. The photographer, a meticulous man named Thomas Chen, insisted on capturing every possible angle of every bridesmaid combination. He had us pose by the rose arbor near the fountain, under the weeping willow, and in front of the manor's historic stone facade. Natural smiles, ladies, he called out cheerfully. Think happy thoughts. This is a celebration. And I was happy. Deliriously, completely, perfectly happy. Sarah stood next to me during a brief break while Thomas adjusted his lighting equipment. You okay? She asked quietly. You seem a little emotional. I'm just taking it all in, I said honestly. This morning with my family, it was just so perfect. I wish I could bottle this feeling. Well, that's what the photos are for, Sarah smiled, squeezing my hand. And trust me, you'll have Marcus to create a million more perfect moments with. At 12:17 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from the wedding coordinator, Jennifer Mills. Charlotte, we need you back at the venue. There's a small situation with the ceremony space setup. Nothing major, but your input would be helpful. I frowned. My mother was supposed to be handling all of that. But maybe she wanted my opinion on something. Thomas, we need to wrap this up, I called out. I'm needed back at the ceremony site. Just 5 more shots. He pleaded. 2 more shots, and they better be quick, I countered. Those 2 shots took another 8 minutes. By the time we made it back to the main ceremony area, a stunning outdoor pavilion overlooking the river, it was 12:25 p.m. The ceremony was set to begin at 2 p.m. Jennifer was waiting for me near the entrance, her tablet clutched to her chest, her expression unreadable. What's the situation? I asked, still smiling, still blissfully unaware. Charlotte, Jennifer paused, glancing at the bridesmaids behind me. Could we speak privately for a moment? Something in her tone made my stomach clench. What's wrong? It's probably nothing, but I went to the bridal suite to check on your family at noon, like we'd planned. The door was locked from the inside, which was fine, but no one answered when I knocked. I called your mother's phone several times. No answer. Same with your father and both your brothers. My heart started beating faster. Maybe they stepped out? Went to get something? A lot of love and effort went into bringing this story to life. If you're enjoying it, we'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel. Now, back to where we left off. That's what I thought, Jennifer continued carefully. But I asked around. No one has seen them leave the carriage house. The catering staff went to deliver the family meals we'd arranged, and they couldn't get anyone to answer either. Finally, the venue manager used the master key to unlock the door. And? The word came out sharper than I intended. Jennifer's face was pale. Charlotte, there's no one inside. The suite is completely empty. Your family is gone. What do you mean gone? I heard myself ask, though my voice sounded strange, distant. Jennifer reached for my arm, but I was already moving, walking quickly toward the carriage house, my heels clicking against the stone pathway. Sarah called after me, but I didn't stop. I needed to see it for myself. The door to the bridal suite stood open. I stepped inside and froze. Everything was exactly as I'd left it. My mother's purse sat on the side table, her reading glasses folded neatly beside it. My father's newspaper was still on the armchair, opened to the crossword puzzle he'd been working on, half completed in his distinctive handwriting. Jake's coffee cup was on the counter, still warm to the touch when I pressed my fingers against it. Noah's phone charger was plugged into the wall outlet, the cable dangling uselessly, but no people. No mother, no father, no brothers. I don't understand, I whispered, turning in a slow circle. Their things are all here. Where would they go without their phones? Without my mom's purse? Jennifer stood in the doorway with Sarah and 2 other bridesmaids. Charlotte, I've already called the venue security. They're checking the grounds right now. I moved through the suite mechanically, opening doors. The bathroom was empty. The small kitchenette was untouched. I climbed the spiral staircase to the 2nd floor, a loft area with a couch and additional space for getting ready. Nothing. No one. Back downstairs, I checked the windows. All locked from the inside. I examined the back door that led to a small private patio. Also locked, deadbolt engaged. The door was locked when you tried it. I asked Jennifer, she nodded. Completely. The manager had to use his key, and the deadbolt was thrown, so he had to unlock that separately. My mind raced through possibilities, each more absurd than the last. Could they have locked it behind them when they left? The deadbolt can only be engaged from inside, the venue manager said, appearing in the doorway. He was a thin man in his 50s named Howard Prescott. There's no way to lock it from the outside. I pulled out my phone and called my mother. It rang once, then went to voicemail. I tried my father. Same thing. Jake, Noah. Every call went immediately to voicemail after a single ring, as if their phones had been simultaneously powered off. This doesn't make sense, I said, my voice rising. People don't just vanish from a locked room. They were here 30 minutes ago. Where could they possibly— Charlotte? Sarah's voice was gentle but firm. We need to call Marcus. Marcus, my FBI agent fiancé who was supposed to be getting ready in the main house, probably adjusting his tie and joking with his groomsmen, completely unaware that his wedding was rapidly unraveling. I dialed his number with shaking fingers. He answered on the first ring. Hey, beautiful. Please tell me you're not calling to run away with the photographer. Marcus, something's happened. I tried to keep my voice steady and failed. My family is missing. The levity disappeared from his voice instantly. Missing? What do you mean missing? I explained quickly. The locked suite, their belongings left behind, the phones going straight to voicemail. Even as I said it out loud, it sounded impossible. Don't touch anything else, Marcus said, and I could hear him moving, probably already heading toward the carriage house. I'm on my way. 2 minutes. It took him 90 seconds. Marcus burst through the door in his dress shirt and suit pants, his FBI credentials already in his hand. His dark eyes scanned the room with professional precision. and I watched him transform from my loving fiancé into Special Agent Marcus Webb. Howard, I need you to lock down this building immediately, Marcus instructed. No one else comes in. Jennifer, get a list of every staff member who's been on the grounds this morning and their exact locations between 10:30 and noon. He turned to Sarah. Take the bridesmaids back to the main house. Keep everyone calm. Tell them there's been a delay with the ceremony, but don't give details yet. Sarah hesitated, looking at me. Charlotte? Go, I managed. I'm okay. Marcus is here. Once they'd cleared out, Marcus pulled on a pair of latex gloves from somewhere, because of course an FBI agent comes prepared to his own wedding, and began a methodical examination of the suite. He checked the windows again, examined the locks, and photographed everything with his phone. He picked up my father's newspaper, my mother's purse, studying them like evidence at a crime scene. Which, I realized with a sickening lurch, they might be. Their wallets are in here, Marcus said, going through my parents' belongings. Credit cards, IDs, cash. Your mom's car keys. Charlotte, was your family having any problems? Any issues you might not have known about? No, I said immediately. Nothing. Everything was perfect. This morning was perfect. Marcus moved to the small kitchenette, opened the refrigerator, checked the cabinets. What about financial troubles? Legal issues? Has anyone been acting strange lately? Marcus, what are you asking me? He turned to face me, and his expression was carefully neutral. His FBI face, the one he used when delivering bad news to victims' families. I'd seen it once when I'd picked him up from work, and it had chilled me then. It terrified me now. In cases of multiple simultaneous disappearances, especially of an entire family unit, we typically look at a few scenarios. Voluntary disappearance is one possibility. They wouldn't just leave, I interrupted. Not today. Not without telling me. Witness protection situations, though that would involve federal coordination. Abduction, though the locked door complicates that theory significantly. Or... He paused. Or what? Or they knew something was coming and they ran. The words hung in the air between us. Ran from what? Before Marcus could answer, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe, or concern. I need to take this. He stepped out onto the patio, closing the door behind him. Through the glass, I watched him listen intently, his expression growing darker with each passing second. He asked several questions I couldn't hear, his free hand running through his hair in a gesture I recognized as stress. The call lasted 4 minutes. When Marcus came back inside, he looked like a different person. We need to talk, he said quietly. But not here. Let's go to the main house, somewhere private. Marcus, you're scaring me. What's going on? He took my hands in his, and his grip was firm, grounding. That was my supervisor at the bureau. Charlotte, I need you to listen to me very carefully, and I need you to stay calm. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. What is it? 3 months ago, the FBI opened an investigation into a series of coordinated identity thefts across New England. High-level theft, social security numbers, financial records, entire life histories being systematically erased and reconstructed. We're talking about a sophisticated operation that can essentially make people disappear on paper and create entirely new identities. I don't understand what this has to do with my family. Marcus's jaw tightened. This morning, at approximately 11:45 a.m., someone accessed the federal database and flagged your parents' social security numbers. Same with your brothers. The flags triggered an automatic alert to our cybercrime division. The room felt like it was tilting. Flagged for what? The flags indicated that Robert and Patricia Brennan, along with Jake and Noah Brennan, are persons of interest in an ongoing investigation into organized crime connections dating back 23 years. That's insane, I said, my voice shaking. My father is an accountant. My mother volunteers at the library. They're not criminals. Charlotte, no, I said firmly. There's been a mistake. A confusion with someone else's information. My family are good people. They would never... The database shows they've been under intermittent surveillance for 2 decades. Marcus continued, his voice gentle but relentless. There are photographs, transaction records, communications intercepts, and according to the alert, there was a credible threat made against their safety within the last 72 hours. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning and nothing made sense. Why wouldn't you tell me? If you knew— I didn't know, Marcus said urgently. This investigation isn't mine. I had no clearance, no access to this information. The only reason I know now is because the flags triggered automatic notifications to all senior agents in the Boston field office due to the proximity and timing. The proximity to what? Marcus looked at me with something I'd never seen in his eyes before. Fear. Charlotte, the threat assessment indicates that the individuals after your family believe that you— He paused, choosing his words carefully, might have information or access to something they want. The wedding, with all of us gathered in one place, would have been the perfect opportunity. Opportunity for what? To take you. The words landed like physical blows. I stumbled backward and Marcus caught me, guiding me to sit on the couch. My family left to protect me, I whispered, understanding blooming like poison in my chest. They left because if they stayed, I'd be in danger. We don't know that yet, Marcus said, but his eyes said he thought I was right. But Charlotte, I need you to think very carefully. Did your parents ever say anything unusual? Give you anything to hold on to? Mention any names or places that seemed out of context? I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. No, nothing. I don't know anything. I don't understand what's happening. Marcus's phone rang again. He answered it, listened for a moment, then his face went rigid. When? Are you certain? I understand. I'm bringing her in now. He ended the call and turned to me with grim determination. Charlotte, we need to leave. Right now. Why? What else happened? Marcus grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the door. The Bureau just received an anonymous tip. Someone called in claiming to know where your family is being held. But Charlotte— He stopped at the threshold, looking back at the empty suite one more time. The tipster specifically asked for you by name. And they said if you want to see your family alive again, you need to come alone. Absolutely not, Marcus said before I could even process what the tipster's demand meant. You're not going anywhere alone. This is exactly what they want. We were in the venue manager's office now, a small space that Howard Prescott had cleared for us. Marcus had his laptop open, connected to a secure FBI network, while 3 other agents had arrived within 15 minutes of his call. The wedding guests were being told there was a brief delay due to a minor emergency, but I could hear the confused murmurs through the walls. Agent Linda Martinez, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, was tracing the anonymous call. Burner phone, made from a location in South Boston near the industrial waterfront. The call lasted 47 seconds. Male voice, likely using a modulator. Play it, Marcus instructed. Linda pressed a button, and a distorted voice filled the room. Mechanical, inhuman, impossible to identify. We have the Brennan family. Charlotte Brennan has something that belongs to us, even if she doesn't know it yet. She comes to Pier 17, Warehouse 3B, within 90 minutes, alone and unarmed. Any FBI presence, any backup, and the family dies. We'll be watching. The recording ended. I felt hollow, scooped out. I don't have anything. I don't know what they're talking about. Marcus crouched in front of my chair, his hands on my knees. Charlotte, this is a classic isolation tactic. They're trying to separate you from protection, make you vulnerable. We're not letting that happen. But what if they kill my family? My voice cracked. What if this is real and we wait too long and— We're treating this as an active kidnapping situation, interrupted Agent David Chen, the senior agent who'd taken command. He was a broad-shouldered man with gray threading through his black hair. We've got tactical teams mobilizing to that location right now. They'll set up a perimeter, get eyes inside that warehouse. In 90 minutes, they said, I pointed out, glancing at the clock. It was 12:52 p.m. That gives us until 2:22. The ceremony was supposed to start at 2 war. The bitter irony wasn't lost on anyone in the room. I should have been doing final touch-ups on my makeup, having last nervous moments with my bridesmaids, preparing to marry the man I loved. Instead, I was in a makeshift command center, learning that my entire life might be built on lies. "Tell me about your parents," Agent Martinez said, pulling up a chair across from me. "How much do you know about their lives before you were born?" I tried to focus, tried to think through the panic. They met in college. University of Vermont. My dad studied accounting. My mom studied literature. They got married young, moved to Boston for my dad's job. They had me a year later. Did they ever talk about their childhood? Their families? Not much, I admitted. My dad's parents died before I was born. Car accident, I think. My mom's parents passed away when I was little. I barely remember them. Agent Martinez and Agent Chen exchanged a look that made my stomach drop. "What?" I demanded. "What does that look mean?" Marcus took my hand. "Charlotte, when people are placed in witness protection or assume new identities, they often claim deceased relatives to avoid questions about family history. It's a common pattern." "You think my parents are in witness protection?" "Why wouldn't they tell me?" "Because," Agent Chen said carefully, "children born after identity assumption are often kept in the dark for their own safety. It's called second-generation protection. The less you know, the less you can accidentally reveal." My world was fragmenting. Everything I thought I knew about my family, my history, myself, all of it suddenly questionable. "My brothers," I said suddenly. "Jake and Noah, are they even my real brothers?" "According to birth records, yes," Linda Martinez said, scanning her tablet. "Born 2 and 5 years before you, respectively. But Charlotte, there's something else you need to see." She turned the tablet toward me. On the screen was a photograph, grainy and clearly old, maybe from the 1990s. It showed 4 people standing outside what looked like a restaurant. I recognized them immediately despite their younger faces, my parents, looking barely older than I was now. But they weren't alone. My mother was holding a baby, maybe 1-year-old. My father had his arm around a little boy who looked about 3. "That's Jake and Noah," I said. "But where am I?" "This photo was taken in 1996, Agent Martinez said quietly. 2 years before you were born." I stared at the image, my mind refusing to process. "I don't understand." "Who's the baby my mom is holding?" No one answered. "Who is that baby?" I repeated, my voice rising. Marcus squeezed my hand tighter. "Charlotte, we're trying to piece this together. The records are fragmented, possibly deliberately obscured. But it appears your parents had another child." "A daughter," the room tilted. "A sister?" "I have a sister?" "Had," Agent Chen corrected gently. "According to what we found so far, she died in 1998. The death certificate lists her name as Emma Brennan. Age 3. Emma. I had a sister named Emma, and she died, and no one ever told me. How?" I whispered. "How did she die?" "The certificate says accidental drowning," Linda Martinez said. "But Charlotte, the certificate was filed in Vermont, in a county where your family has no documented residence. And it was filed by a lawyer, not by your parents directly. What does that mean?" "It means," Marcus said, his jaw tight, "that there's a possibility the death certificate is fabricated. That Emma didn't die. That she's alive somewhere?" My breath came in short gasps. "You think my parents faked their daughter's death?" "Or someone forced them to," Agent Chen said. "Charlotte, witness protection doesn't just hide criminals who cooperate with law enforcement. Sometimes families are hidden because they witnessed something, or because they have information that makes them targets." 23 years, I said, my mind racing. "Your supervisor said the investigation into my family goes back 23 years. Emma would have been born approximately 27 years ago. The timeline aligns," Marcus finished. "Whatever happened to your family, whatever they're running from or hiding, it started around the time Emma was born." My phone buzzed. Everyone in the room tensed. I looked at the screen. Unknown number. My hands shook as I answered, putting it on speaker at Marcus's urgent gesture. "Hello? Charlotte Brennan." The voice was different from the recording. Female, unmodulated, with a slight accent I couldn't place. "You've been talking to the FBI. That's disappointing." Marcus was already signaling to Agent Martinez to trace the call. "Where's my family?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. "Safe. For now. But you're running out of time. 72 minutes until the deadline. I suggest you stop discussing theories and start moving toward Pier 17. "I don't have what you want," I said desperately. "I don't know what you think I have, but—" "Yes, you do," the woman interrupted. "Your mother gave it to you. She thought she was being clever, hiding it in plain sight. But we know. We've always known. The only question is whether you figure it out before your family pays the price for her mistakes." "What did she give me?" "Tell me what you're looking for. Check your wedding dress, Charlotte. The hem. Your mother did beautiful work. Those hand-sewn alterations took her weeks, didn't they? So much care. So much love. So much desperation." The call ended. I stood up so fast my chair fell backward. "My dress." She altered my dress herself. She insisted on doing it by hand, saying it was tradition, a gift from mother to daughter. Marcus was already moving toward the door. "Where is it?" "Still in the bridal suite." We ran. The dress hung exactly where I'd left it, covered in a protective garment bag, hanging on the antique wardrobe in the corner of the suite. With trembling fingers, I unzipped the bag and pulled out the gown, a cream-colored silk creation with delicate lace overlay and a chapel-length train. Marcus knelt on the floor, examining the hem with a small flashlight he'd produced from his pocket. His fingers traced the intricate hand-stitching my mother had painstakingly added over the past month. "Here," he said suddenly. "This section. The stitching pattern is different, see? The rest is regular, even intervals. But right here it's irregular, deliberate." He pulled out a small pocket knife and carefully began cutting the thread. I wanted to protest. This was my wedding dress. My mother's handiwork. But the absurdity of worrying about a dress when my family was missing hit me like a wave. Marcus worked carefully, methodically, until a small section of the hem came loose. He reached inside the fold of fabric and pulled out something small, wrapped in waterproof plastic, a USB drive. It was no bigger than my thumb, unmarked, sealed carefully to protect it from moisture or damage. "She hid it in my dress," I whispered. All those weeks she spent altering it, she was hiding this. She knew. She knew something was coming. Agent Chen bagged the USB drive as evidence while Agent Martinez prepared a secure laptop to examine its contents. Marcus pulled me close, and I could feel his heart racing against my cheek. "When did your mother start working on the dress?" he asked quietly. I thought back. "About 6 weeks ago. She picked it up from the bridal shop and said she wanted to add personal touches. Hand-sewn details that would make it uniquely mine." 6 weeks, Marcus repeated. "That's when the threat assessment was logged. That's when someone started making moves toward your family." She was preparing, I realized. She knew she might have to run. So she gave me something. Hid it where only I would find it, where someone would have to tell me exactly where to look. "Your mother's smart," Agent Chen said, booting up the laptop. "She made sure that even if they took your family, you'd still have leverage. Insurance." The USB drive contained a single encrypted folder. Agent Martinez's fingers flew across the keyboard, running decryption protocols. Minutes ticked by, agonizing, endless minutes while my family was somewhere out there, waiting, hoping I could save them. "Got it," Martinez said finally. The folder opened to reveal hundreds of files. Documents, photographs, audio recordings, spreadsheets, and a video file labeled, "For Charlotte, watch first." I clicked it. My mother's face filled the screen. She was sitting in what looked like our home office late at night, the desk lamp casting shadows across her features. She looked exhausted, terrified. "Charlotte," her recorded voice said, and I felt tears stream down my face. "If you're watching this, then the worst has happened. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry for every lie, every omission, every moment of your life that was built on a foundation I knew could crumble. But I want you to know that every choice we made to protect you. You are the one true, real thing in our lives. You are not part of the lie. You were our chance to do something right." On screen, my mother wiped her eyes, steadied herself, and continued. 27 years ago, your father and I witnessed something we were never supposed to see, and we've been running ever since. My mother's face on the screen looked haunted, older than I'd ever seen her. She took a deep breath before continuing. Your father's real name isn't Robert Brennan. It's Vincent DeLuca. And I'm not Patricia Brennan. I was born Sophia Castellano. We were both from New Jersey, and in 1998, your father worked as a financial analyst for what we thought was a legitimate investment firm called Meridian Capital. I gripped the edge of the desk, Marcus's hand steady on my shoulder. Vincent was good with numbers, brilliant actually. That's why they hired him. But 3 months into the job, he started noticing irregularities. Large cash deposits that didn't match any client portfolios. Money moving through shell corporations in patterns that made no sense for legal business. He thought it was tax evasion at first, maybe some clients hiding assets. He didn't realize he'd stumbled onto a money laundering operation for one of the largest criminal syndicates on the East Coast. Agent Chen leaned forward, his expression intense. "Pause it," he said suddenly. The video froze on my mother's anguished face. "Meridian Capital," Chen said, already typing rapidly on his tablet. "I know that name. It was shut down in 1999 by a joint FBI Treasury task force. But the case fell apart because the key witness disappeared before trial." "My father?" I said numbly. "He was the witness." "Keep playing it," Marcus urged. I clicked play. "Your father wanted to go to the authorities immediately," my mother continued. "But I was pregnant with Emma. We had a baby girl, Charlotte. You had a sister, and she was perfect. 2 years old with your father's dark curls and my green eyes. We called her our little miracle." My mother's voice broke, and she took several moments to compose herself. "Vincent made copies of everything he found. Bank records, transaction logs, client lists, communications. He documented it all. But before he could go to the FBI, they found out what he'd discovered. Or more specifically, she found out, Agent Martinez echoed. "Vivian Castellano," my mother said on screen, and I watched Agent Chen's face go pale. "My sister. My older sister, who I hadn't spoken to in 5 years, because she'd married into organized crime and I wanted nothing to do with that world. But family connections run deep. And when Vivian learned that Vincent DeLuca was asking dangerous questions, she came to warn us. Not because she was good, because she wanted to control the situation." My mother leaned closer to the camera, her eyes red-rimmed. "Vivian gave us a choice. Turn over the evidence, disappear quietly, and our family would be spared. Or refuse, and Emma would pay the price. She didn't threaten us directly. She just showed us photographs of our daughter. Emma at daycare. Emma at the playground. Emma is sleeping in her crib." The message was clear. I felt bile rise in my throat. We had 48 hours to decide. Your father wanted to fight, wanted to go to witness protection, wanted to trust the system. But I was terrified. These weren't just criminals. They were my blood. I knew what they were capable of. So we ran. My mother wiped tears from her cheeks with shaking hands. We emptied our bank accounts, packed what we could fit in the car, and drove. We made it as far as Vermont before they caught up with us. They forced us off the road on a rural highway near Lake Champlain. It was raining. Emma was crying in her car seat, and Vivian was there, with 2 men I didn't recognize. Marcus's hand tightened on my shoulder. They wanted the evidence. Vincent tried to negotiate, give them the physical copies in exchange for our freedom. But Vivian said it wasn't enough. There were digital files too, backups, things that could resurface. She said the only way to guarantee our silence was to take the one thing that would destroy us if we ever spoke. My mother's face crumpled, and for a long moment she couldn't speak. They took Emma, pulled her from the car seat while she screamed for me. Vivian said if we ever contacted authorities, if we ever tried to find Emma, if we ever used our real names again, they would kill her. Our daughter would die, and it would be our fault for choosing justice over her life. The video showed my mother breaking down completely, sobbing into her hands. After what felt like an eternity, she raised her face to the camera again. We were given new identities. Robert and Patricia Brennan, complete with backstories and documentation. We were relocated to Boston with the understanding that we would be monitored. Always. If we stepped out of line, if we tried to find Emma, if we contacted anyone from our old lives, she would die. But they let us keep Jake and Noah? I asked the screen, confused, as if anticipating my question. My mother continued. Vivian let us keep the boys because she said 2 children was believable for our new identity, and taking all 3 would attract too much attention from social services. Jake was 5, Noah was 2, young enough to adapt, to forget most of their old life. We told them it was an adventure, a game. They don't remember being anyone other than Brennan boys. Agent Martinez was typing furiously, pulling up files. Jake Brennan, Noah Brennan, according to records, born in Massachusetts General Hospital. Birth certificates, social security numbers, all legitimate-looking documents. Expertly forged, Agent Chen said. This level of documentation requires serious resources and connections. On screen, my mother steadied herself, her expression hardening with determination. For 2 years, we lived in terror. Every phone call could be them checking on us. Every stranger on the street could be watching. And then I got pregnant with you, Charlotte. We didn't plan it. We were too broken, too afraid to plan anything. But there you were. A small smile crossed her face, the first genuine emotion I'd seen since the video started. Your father said you were a gift, a chance to do something right in the middle of all this wrong. When you were born, we made a decision. You would be different. You would be raised with love and truth, as much as we could give you. You wouldn't carry the weight of our sins. But we kept you in the dark, she continued, her smile fading. We never told you about Emma, about our real identities, about the constant fear we lived with. We wanted you to have a normal life, Charlotte. We wanted you to be free of this nightmare. My mother leaned forward intently. But 6 weeks ago, everything changed. I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. When I answered, I heard a voice I hadn't heard in 27 years. Emma, my daughter. Your sister. My heart stopped. She's alive, my mother whispered to the camera. All these years we thought keeping silent was keeping her safe. But Vivian never intended to kill her. She raised Emma as her own daughter, trained her, molded her into something we never wanted for any of our children. Agent Chen cursed under his breath. She raised the girl in the organization. Emma called to warn me, my mother said. She told me that Vivian is dying. Cancer, stage 4, months to live at most. And before she dies, Vivian wants to tie up loose ends. She wants the evidence Vincent took, which we've hidden all these years. She wants to make sure her legacy is secure, that no one can touch the empire she helped build. My mother's eyes hardened. But Emma also told me something else. She told me she never forgot us. She never forgot that she was taken from parents who loved her. And she wants out. She wants to testify against the organization that held her captive her entire life. But she needs proof. She needs the evidence your father collected 27 years ago to make sure her testimony holds up. To make sure they can't discredit her or make her disappear. So Emma's the one who made the anonymous call, I said aloud. She's trying to help. The original male voice was someone else, Marcus noted. This is more complicated than one person operating alone, my mother continued, her voice urgent now. Charlotte, the evidence is on this drive. Everything Vincent documented, plus additional material we've gathered over the years. Bank accounts that are still active, names of people who are still in operation, connections that reach into legitimate business and even government. This information could bring down an entire network. She paused, her expression filled with anguish and hope. Your wedding was supposed to be safe. We thought with Marcus being FBI, with all those people around, they wouldn't dare make a move. We were wrong. They're desperate, and desperate people do terrible things. If you're watching this, then they've taken us. They're using us as leverage to get you to turn over the evidence. My mother reached toward the camera, as if she could touch me through the screen. Don't do it, sweetheart. Don't trade this drive for our lives. Take it to the FBI. Let Marcus help you. Find Emma. She'll be at Pier 17, I'm certain of it. She's trying to help you, trying to orchestrate a way out for all of us. But Charlotte, listen to me very carefully. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. You cannot trust everyone in the FBI. This organization has survived for 3 decades because they have people everywhere. Police, judges, federal agents. We don't know who's compromised. Emma said there's someone in the Boston field office who's been feeding information to the organization. She didn't know who, but she knew they existed. I looked at Marcus, then at Agents Chen and Martinez. One of them? Someone they worked with? How could we know who to trust? Find Emma, my mother said. Save your sister. And Charlotte, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry we lied to you. Sorry we couldn't be strong enough to fight back all those years ago. Sorry we let fear rule our lives for so long. But I need you to know that every moment with you has been real. Our love for you is the truest thing in our false lives. The video ended, freezing on my mother's tear-stained face. The room was silent except for the sound of my ragged breathing. 58 minutes until the deadline, Agent Martinez said quietly, checking her watch. Marcus turned to Agent Chen. We need to assume there's a mole. We need to limit who has access to this information. Agreed, Chen said grimly. The 3 of us in this room and no one else until we can verify. His phone rang. He glanced at the screen, frowned, and answered. Chen. I watched his expression change as he listened, going from concerned to alarmed to something close to panic. When? How many? Jesus Christ. We're on our way. He ended the call and looked directly at me. The tactical team we sent to Pier 17 is gone. All of them. Someone called in a fake emergency that pulled them to a location across the city. By the time they realized it was a diversion, 12 FBI agents had been ambushed. 4 are in critical condition. The rest are missing. The mole, Marcus said. They knew we were coming. It's worse than that, Chen said, his voice tight. The emergency call that diverted the team? It came from inside FBI headquarters. Someone with access to our tactical communications deliberately sent them into a trap. Agent Martinez's tablet beeped. She looked at it and her face went white. We've got a problem. A bigger problem. The USB drive. I've been running background scans while the video plays. There's a secondary partition, encrypted even more heavily than the first. What's on it? I asked. I don't know yet, but... She hesitated. Charlotte, the encryption has a biometric lock. It requires a fingerprint scan to access, and according to the metadata, it's keyed to 2 specific prints. Let me guess, Marcus said darkly. Charlotte's fingerprint is one of them. Martinez nodded. The other is registered to an Emma Grace DeLuca, age 27. My sister, I whispered. This was always meant for both of us. My parents planned for us to find each other. Marcus checked his weapon, his jaw set with determination. Then that's what we're going to do. But we do it smart, and we do it with backup we can actually trust. Who? I asked. If there's a mole in the FBI, how do we know who's safe? Marcus looked at me with an intensity that made my breath catch. We use people from outside the Boston office. I have contacts at headquarters, people I trained with who have no connection to this city or this case. We bring them in quietly. That'll take hours, Chen protested. We don't have hours. Then we work with what we have, Marcus said. The 3 of us, Charlotte, and whatever resources we can verify are clean. We go to Pier 17, we find Emma, and we end this. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. I answered the speaker. Hello, Charlotte. It was the female voice from before. Emma, my sister. You found the video. You know the truth now. Are you ready to meet me? Are my parents alive? I demanded. Jake and Noah. For now. But Charlotte, time is running out. Not just for them, for all of us. Vivian's people know you have the drive. They know you've seen the video, and they know you're with FBI agents who may or may not be trustworthy. How do we know we can trust you? Marcus cut in. There was a long pause. Then Emma said something that made my blood run cold. You can't. You can't trust me. You can't trust the FBI. You can't trust anyone. But here's what you can trust. If you're not at Pier 17 in 53 minutes, our family dies. All of them. Including me. Because Vivian's not just tying up loose ends, Agent Webb. She's burning down everything, everyone who knows her secrets. And that includes her own daughter. The line went dead. I was still in my wedding preparation robe, my hair half done, makeup smudged from crying. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. And instead, I was loading into an unmarked FBI vehicle, racing toward a confrontation that could end with everyone I loved dead. Marcus drove while Agent Chen rode shotgun, both of them armed and wearing tactical vests they'd retrieved from their vehicles. Agent Martinez sat in the back with me, her laptop balanced on her knees as she worked frantically to decrypt the second partition on the USB drive. "Talk to me about Vivian Castellano," Marcus said, his eyes fixed on the road as he weaved through Boston traffic. "What do we know?" Agent Chen pulled up files on his tablet. Vivian Castellano, age 61. Born in Newark, married Antonio Castellano when she was 19. He was a captain in the Moretti crime family. Antonio died 15 years ago, allegedly from a heart attack, though there were rumors Vivian had him killed to consolidate power. Since then, she's been the one calling shots. "And she's dying now?" I asked. According to medical records Martinez pulled, which we obtained through questionable channels so they won't hold up in court, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer 8 months ago. Refused treatment. Given her timeline, she has maybe 6 weeks left, possibly less. "So she's on a deadline too," Marcus observed. "She wants everything secured before she goes." The Castellano network has connections across 5 states, Chen continued. Money laundering, extortion, political corruption, even some legitimate businesses they use as fronts. If we can verify the information on this drive and get testimony from Emma, we could dismantle an operation that's been running for 40 years. "If Emma's legitimate," I said quietly. "If this isn't a trap." Marcus glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "What does your gut tell you?" I thought about the voice on the phone. My sister's voice, though I'd never heard it before today. There had been something in her tone, a desperation that felt real. I think she's telling the truth. I think she wants out. "Or she's an excellent actress trained by criminals her entire life," Agent Martinez said, not looking up from her laptop. "Sorry to be cynical, Charlotte, but we need to consider all possibilities." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You're being followed. Black sedan 3 cars back." "They're not the FBI." I showed the text to Marcus. His jaw tightened, and he checked the mirrors. "Got it," he confirmed. "Chen, we've got a tail." Agent Chen casually adjusted his side mirror. "Confirmed. 2 occupants, driver and passenger. They're maintaining distance but definitely tracking us." "The mole told them we were coming," Martinez said. "This whole thing could be an ambush." Another text came through. "Take the next right. There's a construction detour that leads to the waterfront through a different route. You'll lose them in the warehouse district." "Emma?" I asked aloud. "Your sister is trying to keep you alive. Trust me or don't, but if that sedan follows you to Pier 17, everyone inside dies. Vivian has snipers positioned. If she sees FBI backup, she'll execute the family and disappear." I read the texts aloud. Marcus cursed under his breath. "It could be leading us into a trap," Chen warned. "Or it could be legitimate intel," Marcus countered. He made a split-second decision and took the next right turn sharply, tires squealing. The black sedan tried to follow, but Marcus knew these streets better. He took a series of quick turns through Boston's financial district, then cut through an alley barely wide enough for the vehicle. We emerged onto a service road that ran parallel to the waterfront. "Lost them," Chen confirmed, checking behind us. The landscape changed as we approached the industrial waterfront. Modern Boston gave way to older structures, abandoned warehouses, shipping containers stacked like rusted building blocks, cranes standing silent against the gray sky. It was 1:47 p.m. We had 35 minutes. "There," Martinez said, pointing ahead. "Pier 17. The pier was a sprawling complex of warehouses and loading docks. Most looked abandoned, victims of Boston's shifting economy. Warehouse 3B was toward the far end, a 3-story brick building with broken windows and faded paint. Marcus parked 2 blocks away, behind a pile of shipping containers. "We go in smart." "Chen, you circle around to the north entrance." Martinez, Find a vantage point where you can see the main doors and cover our backs. Charlotte stays with me? No way, I said immediately. If Emma needs both our fingerprints for the USB drive, I have to be there. Which makes you a target, Marcus argued. I'm already a target. And they're my family there. We stared at each other, and I saw the fear in his eyes. Not for himself, but for me. This was supposed to be our wedding day. He was supposed to be slipping a ring on my finger, not heading into a confrontation with armed criminals. I'm not losing you, he said quietly. Not today, not ever. Then don't lose me, I replied, taking his hand. Come with me. Keep me safe. But I'm going in. He knew better than to argue further. Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say when I say it. Understood? I nodded. We moved quickly through the maze of containers and abandoned equipment. Agent Chen split off toward the north side while Martinez found a position on a raised loading platform that gave her a clear view of the main entrance. Comms check. Marcus whispered into his radio. North position secure, Chen responded. No movement visible. Overwatch in position, Martinez confirmed. Charlotte, I've got eyes on you. If anything goes wrong, I'm covering your exit. We approached the main entrance to Warehouse 3B. The large rolling door was partially open, revealing darkness inside. No lights, no visible movement. No sound except the distant cry of seagulls and the lap of water against the pier. Marcus drew his weapon, clicking off the safety. On me, slow and quiet. We slipped inside. The warehouse was vast, mostly empty, with high ceilings supported by metal beams. Afternoon light filtered through broken windows, creating patterns of shadow and pale illumination. The smell of salt water, rust, and something else, something chemical, filled the air. Hello, Charlotte, the voice came from the darkness ahead. A woman stepped into a shaft of light, and I saw her clearly for the first time. Emma. My sister. She looked like a ghost of my mother. The same bone structure, the same green eyes, but harder somehow. She wore dark tactical pants and a fitted jacket, her auburn hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. She was beautiful and dangerous and utterly foreign. You came, Emma said, and there was genuine relief in her voice. I wasn't sure you would. Where's my family? I demanded. Emma gestured to her left. Safe, for now. But we're running out of time and we need to talk before... A spotlight suddenly blazed to life, blinding us. I threw up my hand to shield my eyes and Marcus immediately moved in front of me, weapon raised. How touching, a woman's voice said from somewhere in the light. The DeLuca sisters, together at last. Vincent would be so proud. The spotlight dimmed slightly, and I could make out a figure in a wheelchair, flanked by two large men with weapons. Even ravaged by illness, Vivian Castellano was imposing, silver hair immaculately styled, expensive clothes hanging on her diminished frame, eyes that burned with cold intelligence. Hello. Sophia's daughters, Vivian said, a slight smile on her thin lips. I've waited 27 years for this reunion. Where are my parents? I repeated, my voice shaking but firm. Vivian gestured lazily, and one of her men shone a flashlight to the right. There, bound to chairs with tape over their mouths, were my parents and brothers. My mother was crying, my father straining against his bonds. Jake and Noah looked terrified but unharmed. Mom! Dad! I started forward, but Marcus's arm shot out, holding me back. Not yet, Vivian said. First we conduct business. Then if I'm satisfied, your family goes free. Well, most of them. She looked at Emma with something between affection and contempt. My dear adopted daughter has become quite the traitor, Vivian continued. She thinks she can testify against me, dismantle everything I've built. She thinks the FBI will protect her. Such naive optimism. You held me prisoner my entire life, Emma said, her voice steady despite the weapons pointed at her. You told me my parents abandoned me, that they chose money over their own child. You lied to me for 27 years. I gave you purpose, Vivian countered. I gave you power, skills, a place in an empire. Your weak parents would have raised you to be ordinary. I made you extraordinary. You made me a criminal, Emma shot back. You made me complicit in things I can't take back. But I can stop you from doing it to anyone else. Vivian's expression hardened. Brave words from a girl who's forgotten I still have leverage. She nodded to one of her men, who moved behind my father's chair and placed a gun to his head. My mother screamed through the tape. The USB drive. Charlotte, Vivian said, turning her cold gaze to me. The evidence your parents stole 27 years ago, plus whatever additional insurance they've collected. Give it to me, and your father lives. Refuse, and his blood is on your hands. She's dying anyway, Emma said urgently. In weeks, she'll be gone. We just need to survive long enough for what? Vivian interrupted. For the FBI to arrive? They're not coming, dear Emma. The agents outside this building are mine. The tactical team is scattered across the city, chasing false leads. And the mole you told Charlotte about? He's been feeding me information all morning. I know everything. My heart sank. This was always a trap. We walked right into it. Marcus's grip tightened on his weapon. You're surrounded by federal agents. You're not walking out of here. Neither are you, Agent Webb, Vivian replied calmly, which is why we're going to make a trade. The drive for the family. Simple. Don't do it, Charlotte. My mother's muffled voice came through the tape. Don't give her anything. The gunman pressed the weapon harder against my father's temple. 10 seconds, Vivian said. Then Robert Brennan becomes Vincent DeLuca again, a corpse with his original identity. Wait, I shouted, pulling the USB drive from my pocket. Wait, I'll give it to you. Charlotte, no, Marcus warned. But I was already stepping forward. The drive held out in front of me. Let them go. All of them. Then you can have it, Vivian smiled. You're more like your mother than I expected. Soft, sentimental, foolish. She gestured, and one of her men approached to take the drive. There's something you should know, I said quickly, stalling. The drive has a secondary partition, encrypted with biometric locks. It needs both Emma's fingerprint and mine to access it. If you kill us, you'll never get the full files. Vivian's eyes narrowed. Clever. Vincent's work, I presume. Always a careful accountant. She considered it for a moment. Very well. Emma comes here. Both of you unlock the drive. I verify the contents, and then we conclude our business. Emma moved to stand beside me. Up close, I could see the fear in her eyes despite her brave facade. I'm sorry, she whispered. I tried to find another way. It's not over yet, I whispered back. We approached each other, and Vivian's man produced a laptop. Fingerprints, he demanded. Emma placed her thumb on the drive's scanner first. It blinked green. Then I did the same. The secondary partition unlocked. Files flooded the screen. 27 years of evidence, meticulously documented. Bank transactions, photographs of meetings, recorded conversations, ledgers that tracked millions of dollars through dozens of shell companies. And names. So many names. Politicians, judges, police chiefs, business leaders. The scope of corruption was staggering. Vivian leaned forward, her eyes gleaming. Impressive. This could have destroyed us completely. She looked up at me. Could have. That's when I realized we'd miscalculated. She was never going to let us leave alive. The drive was insurance, yes, but dead people couldn't testify. Dead people couldn't confirm the authenticity of files that a good lawyer could claim were fabricated. Kill them, Vivian said calmly. All of them. The FBI will find a tragic scene, a family feud gone wrong, evidence of internal criminal conflict. By the time they sort through the mess, I'll be dead from natural causes and the network will have restructured under new leadership. The gunmen raised their weapons, and then the lights went out, plunging the warehouse into complete darkness. Gunfire erupted immediately, muzzle flashes creating strobing bursts of light in the pitch black. Marcus yanked me down hard, my knees hitting the concrete floor painfully as bullets whizzed overhead. Stay down, he shouted, returning fire toward where Vivian's men had been standing. I couldn't see anything. The warehouse had become a chaos of sound. Gunshots, shouting, the metallic ping of bullets ricocheting off steel beams. Someone was screaming. I thought it might be my mother. A hand grabbed my arm in the darkness, and I nearly screamed until Emma's voice hissed in my ear. "Move! Follow me! My family, I've got them. Chen cut the power. Martinez is covering the exits. We rehearsed this. Move now!" She pulled me forward, navigating the darkness with the confidence of someone who'd clearly memorized the layout. Behind us, the firefight continued, Marcus and Chen engaging with Vivian's gunmen. We reached the far wall where my family had been held. In the dim light from the broken windows above, I could barely make out shapes. Emma was already cutting through the zip ties binding my father's wrists, moving with practiced efficiency. "Get the others," she ordered, handing me a knife. Fast. My hands shook as I sawed through the bonds holding my mother. The tape came off her mouth with a painful rip, and she immediately grabbed my face. "Charlotte, baby, are you hurt?" "I'm fine, Mom. Sophia, I don't even know what to call you." "Call me Mom," she said fiercely, tears streaming down her face. "That's all that matters. That's the only real thing." I moved to Jake, then Noah, cutting them free while Emma helped our father to his feet. "Vincent DeLuca. Robert Brennan. I still didn't know who he really was. Can you walk?" Emma asked him all business. "Yes," my father gasped. "But we need to help Marcus. Vivian has 6 men, maybe more." 8, Emma corrected. "And they're professionals. But so are Chen and Martinez. We need to get Charlotte and the family out while they have the distraction." A massive explosion rocked the building. Part of the roof near the front entrance collapsed, sending a shower of debris and dust through the warehouse. Through the new opening, I could see emergency lights from vehicles outside, but not FBI vehicles. "Reinforcements," Emma cursed. "Vivian's backup plan. We're out of time." "There's a service tunnel," my father said urgently, below the warehouse. "It runs under the pier to the adjacent building. It's how they used to transport goods when this was an active shipping facility." "How do you know that?" Emma asked. "Because I've been preparing for this day for 27 years, he replied grimly. "I knew eventually we'd have to run again. I scouted escape routes from every location we lived near." Jake grabbed my hand. "Charlotte, I'm so sorry. All these years we knew something was off, but we were too young to remember clearly. I should have protected you better." "You didn't know," I said, squeezing his hand. "None of us knew." Another burst of gunfire, closer now. Marcus appeared out of the darkness, moving backward while firing controlled shots at unseen targets. "We need to move," he shouted. "Chen's holding the north side, but there's more coming from the water entrance. We have maybe 60 seconds before we're completely surrounded." "The tunnel," my father said, already moving toward the back corner of the warehouse. "This way!" We ran through the darkness, stumbling over debris and abandoned equipment. Behind us, I heard Vivian's voice shouting orders, her wheelchair-bound figure somehow still commanding despite her physical weakness. "Find them. No one leaves this building alive." "Emma, you ungrateful bitch, I should have drowned you the day I took you." Emma's jaw clenched, but she kept moving forward. My father reached what looked like a solid wall and began feeling along the bricks. "It's here, I know it's here. Dad, hurry," Noah urged, glancing back at the approaching flashlight beams. "Got it." Dad found a loose brick and pulled it out, revealing a hidden lever. He yanked it down, and a section of the wall swung inward with a grinding sound of long, unused hinges. A dark passage descended into the foundation of the building. The smell of stagnant water and mold wafted up. "Ladies first," Marcus said, taking a defensive position at the entrance. "Chen, Martinez, fall back to this position." My mother went first, then Jake and Noah. I hesitated at the entrance, looking back at Marcus and Emma. "Go!" Emma pushed me toward the tunnel. "I'm right behind you. What about Vivian?" "Let me worry about her. You're the one with the testimony about the drive's contents. You're the one who can verify everything to the authorities. You're more important than you realize." A bullet struck the wall inches from Emma's head. Marcus returned fire, dropping one of Vivian's gunmen who'd gotten too close. "Chen's hit." Martinez's voice crackled over the radio. "North entrance compromised. I'm covering his withdrawal. Get him to the tunnel," Marcus ordered. "Now." I climbed down the ladder into the darkness, my wedding preparation robe catching on the rusty metal. Below, I could hear water trickling and my family's labored breathing echoing off stone walls. Marcus came down next, followed by Emma. We could hear footsteps above, searching. Getting closer. Close it, my father whispered urgently. Marcus pulled the section of wall back into place just as flashlights swept across where we'd been standing. We stood frozen in the absolute darkness, barely breathing. Vivian's voice, fainter now but still audible through the old bricks. Find the exit point. They'll be in the service tunnels. Seal off the adjacent building. No one escapes. We waited until the sounds faded. Then Martinez clicked on a small flashlight, revealing our surroundings. We were in a narrow tunnel, maybe 6 feet high and 4 feet wide, with water covering the floor up to our ankles. The walls were old brick, crumbling in places, with thick pipes running along the ceiling. Agent Chen appeared from the darkness, supporting Agent Martinez. Her shoulder was bleeding, and Chen had a nasty gash across his forehead, but both were mobile. How bad? Marcus asked, immediately moving to check their injuries. Through and through, Martinez said, wincing. I'll live, but we need to move before they figure out where this tunnel goes. My father led the way, moving quickly through the ankle-deep water. This connects to the old customs building 2 blocks north. From there, we can reach the street and hopefully find safe transportation. And then what? My mother asked. Vivian knows everything. She has people everywhere. Where can we possibly go that's safe? We go public, Emma said from behind us. We take the evidence to the media, to multiple FBI offices simultaneously, to state police, to everyone at once. Make it too big to cover up, too widespread to suppress. That'll take coordination, Chen said, and we can't trust anyone in our office. What about your contacts at headquarters? I asked Marcus. The ones you mentioned. Yes, Marcus said grimly. But we need to get out of Boston first. Get somewhere secure where we can regroup. The tunnel seemed endless, our footsteps echoing in the confined space. Water dripped from the ceiling, and in the distance, I could hear the rumble of traffic above us. Charlotte, my father's voice came from ahead. I need you to know something. Whatever happens next, whatever we face, you were never part of the lie. Your mother and I, we may have been living under false names, hiding from the past, but our love for you was real. You were the one pure thing in our corrupted lives. We all love you, Jake added. Noah and I, we might not remember being anyone other than Brennan's, but you're our sister. That's never been fake. I felt Emma's hand touch my shoulder in the darkness. I don't know you yet, she said quietly. But I'd like to. I spent 27 years wondering what my real family was like. Vivian told me you all forgot about me, that you moved on like I never existed. But Mom's video? You kept evidence all these years. You never stopped fighting, even when you had to do it silently. We never stopped loving you, my mother said, her voice breaking. Not for one single day. Every time I altered Charlotte's wedding dress, I thought about the dress I never got to make for you. Every milestone, every birthday, every moment, you were there in our hearts. We reached the end of the tunnel. An old wooden door, swollen with moisture, blocked our path. My father and Marcus put their shoulders to it, and it finally gave way with a crack of splitting wood. We emerged into the basement of an abandoned building, dust thick in the air. Stairs led upward to what had probably once been offices or administrative space. Marcus pulled out his phone. No signal down here. We need to get to street level. We climbed the stairs, emerging into what looked like a derelict customs office from the 1970s. Metal desks sat rusted and covered in bird droppings. Broken windows let in gray afternoon light. It's 2:34, Martinez noted, checking her watch. We missed your ceremony by half an hour. The absurdity of it hit me. I was supposed to be married right now. Instead, I was in a ruined building, soaked to my knees, my family revealed as witnesses in hiding, meeting my supposedly dead sister for the first time, running from organized crime. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. It was either laugh or completely break down. Charlotte? Marcus looked concerned. I'm fine. I managed between giggles that bordered on hysteria. I'm absolutely fine. This is the worst wedding day ever, isn't it? My mother hugged me, and then we were all laughing, exhausted, terrified. relief-tinged laughter that echoed through the empty building. Marcus's phone suddenly buzzed with a flood of notifications as we reached an area with a signal. His expression changed as he read them. "What is it?" I asked. "The Bureau," he said slowly. "Multiple offices are reporting that someone just uploaded files to a dozen different media outlets and law enforcement databases simultaneously. Encrypted files that just went public 15 minutes ago." "The USB drive," Emma said. "But how?" "We still have it." I checked my pocket. The drive was gone. "When did you last have it?" Marcus demanded. I thought back. "In the warehouse, when Vivian's man checked it on the laptop. I put it back in my pocket after we unlocked it, but then the lights went out and I took it," Agent Chen said quietly. "In the chaos when everyone was shooting, I uploaded the files remotely to a secure server with automated distribution protocols. If I didn't check in with a specific code every 30 minutes, the files would automatically be distributed to pre-selected recipients." Marcus stared at him. "You set up a dead man's switch without telling us?" "I set it up without telling anyone," Chen corrected. "Because I didn't know who to trust. If there's a mole in our office, I need insurance that even if we all died, the evidence would still get out." "But we're not dead," Martinez pointed out. "Why did it trigger early?" "I triggered it manually when Vivian ordered us all killed," Chen said. "Seemed like the right moment. And I made sure the files included a video upload explaining the context, Vivian Castellano's involvement, the kidnapping, everything. By now every news station in New England has this story." Emma pulled out a phone, not hers, I realized, but a burner, and pulled up a news site. The headline was already there. "Breaking. FBI uncovers decades-old organized crime network. Castellano family connections exposed." Below it, photographs from the USB drive were displayed. Meetings between Vivian and known criminals, transaction records, enough evidence to bury not just Vivian but dozens of people connected to her network. "It's over," my mother whispered. "After 27 years, it's finally over." "Not quite," Marcus said, still reading his phone. "Vivian Castellano and her remaining associates are now subject to federal arrest warrants. But they're still at large, last seen at Pier 17. Boston PD and FBI are converging on the location." "She'll run," Emma said. "She always has an exit strategy. By the time they get there, she'll be gone." "Where would she go?" I asked. Emma met my eyes, and I saw the weight of 27 years of captivity in her gaze. "She has a private plane at a small airfield outside the city. Teterboro Executive Airport, about 2 hours from here. She keeps it fueled and ready at all times. If she's running, that's where she's headed." Marcus was already calling it in. "I need tactical teams to Teterboro Executive Airport. Suspect Vivian Castellano attempting to flee jurisdiction. Repeat, priority arrest warrant." While he coordinated the response, my father pulled me and Emma aside, one daughter on each side. "I don't know how much time we have left together," he said quietly. "The FBI will want statements, interviews, testimony. We might be separated for processing. So I need to tell you both something now." Emma and I waited. "I failed you, Emma. I let them take you because I was afraid. I chose fear over fighting back, and that's a choice I've regretted every single day for 27 years. I don't expect forgiveness." "You were protecting your family," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. "I understand that now. Vivian raised me to believe you abandoned me, but that video Mom made, I saw the truth. You never stopped caring. You just didn't know how to save me without risking everyone else." "And Charlotte," my father continued, turning to me, "we kept you in the dark and that was selfish. We wanted you to have the normal life we couldn't give Emma. But in doing so, we put you in danger without giving you the tools to protect yourself. I'm sorry, Dad, Vincent, whoever you are," I said, taking both his hands. "You're my father. That's all that matters. Robert Brennan might be a fake identity, but the man who taught me to ride a bike and helped me with my homework and cried at my high school graduation, he's real." "You're real." We stood there, the three of us, as emergency sirens began to wail in the distance. "We have to move," Martinez said. "This location isn't secure, But before we could leave, Emma's burner phone rang. She answered, listened for a moment, and her face went pale. "It's Vivian," she mouthed to us. She put it on speaker. "Hello, my dear Emma." Vivian's voice was eerily calm despite everything. "I assume you're quite proud of yourself. You've destroyed everything I built. Congratulations." "You destroyed it yourself," Emma replied. "I just made sure everyone knew the truth." "The truth is relative, darling. I taught you that. But I'm calling because I want to offer you something, closure. Meet me at the airfield, alone. One last conversation between mother and daughter before I disappear forever." "You're not my mother," Emma said coldly. "You're my kidnapper. I raised you. I fed you, clothed you, trained you. That makes me more of a mother than Sophia ever was. She gave birth to you, but I made you who you are. A criminal? A liar? Someone who hurts people?" Emma's voice cracked. "If that's who you made me, then I'll spend the rest of my life trying to become something different." There was a long pause. Then Vivian said, "I'm dying, Emma. You know that. This is my last chance to see you, to explain things properly. After today, I'll be gone. Arrested or dead, what does it matter? Give me this one last moment." "It's a trap," Marcus said immediately. "She wants to take you with her." But Emma was staring at the phone, conflict clear on her face. "I have something that belongs to you," Vivian continued. "A photograph. The only photograph from before I took you. Your real mother gave it to me for safekeeping all those years ago, during the negotiation. I've kept it up all this time. If you want it, come claim it. If not, it disappears with me forever," my mother gasped. "The photo album. Vincent, she took my photo album from the car that night. I thought it was destroyed." Emma looked at us torn. "Don't do it," I said. "It's not worth it." "But what if she really has pictures of me before?" Emma asked. "What if that's the only evidence that I existed as your daughter?" "Don't you want that?" My mother was crying. "Not if it costs me another daughter." "Emma, please." Emma looked at the phone, at us, at the choice in front of her. "I'm going," she said finally. "But not alone. We all go. The whole family, plus FBI escort. Vivian wants closure? Fine. She can have it with all of us watching. No more secrets. No more hiding. We will end this together." Marcus started to object, but I cut him off. "She's right. This ends today one way or another. Let's finish it." The drive to Teterboro Executive Airport took 90 minutes, with a full FBI tactical convoy surrounding our vehicle. Marcus had coordinated with headquarters and clean agents. People with no connection to Boston operations were being flown in. The mole in the Boston office had already been identified through digital forensics. A veteran agent named Richards who'd been on Vivian's payroll for 12 years. He was in custody before we even left the city limits. I sat between my two brothers in the back seat, still wearing my ridiculous wedding preparation robe over jeans someone had found for me. My mother and father were in the vehicle ahead of us. Emma rode with Marcus and the tactical commander, going over the airfield layout. "This is insane," Noah said for the 10th time. "I still can't believe any of this is real." "I know," Jake replied. 27 years of thinking we were normal, and turns out our whole existence is a witness protection cover story." "Not our whole existence," I corrected quietly. "We're still brothers and sisters. That part was always real." The airfield came into view, a small private facility with 2 runways and a handful of hangars. FBI vehicles had already established a perimeter, and I could see agents in tactical gear positioning themselves around the property. Vivian's private jet sat on the tarmac, stairs extended, engines already warming up. She'd almost made it. Our vehicles stopped 100 yards from the plane. Marcus came to our car, his expression grim. "She's on the aircraft with 2 bodyguards. She says she'll surrender peacefully if Emma agrees to board the plane and talk to her. 5 minutes, that's all she's asking." "Absolutely not," my mother said, having climbed out of her vehicle. "I didn't get my daughter back after 27 years just to lose her to that woman again." "I'll be wearing a wire," Emma said calmly. "I'll have FBI snipers covering every angle. And I'll have this." She held up a small recording device. Everything she says goes on record. One last chance for her to confess on tape with witnesses. What if she tries to take off with you? I asked. What if this is her exit strategy? One final hostage? Emma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Then the FBI shoots out the tires and arrests her for kidnapping a federal witness. She's cornered, Charlotte. She knows it. This really is just about closure. The tactical commander, a no-nonsense woman named Agent Reeves, approached. If we're doing this, we do it now. That plane's fueled and ready. Every minute we wait is a minute she could decide to force takeoff. Emma looked at my parents, then at me. I need to do this. Not for her, for me. I need to look her in the eye and tell her that she failed. That she didn't break me, didn't turn me into her, didn't destroy the possibility of having a real family. My mother hugged her tightly. 5 minutes. Not a second more. Emma walked toward the plane, flanked by 2 FBI agents who stopped at the base of the stairs. She climbed alone, her posture straight, confident. We watched on monitors in the FBI command vehicle as Emma entered the cabin. The wire she wore transmitted perfectly. Vivian sat in a leather chair, oxygen tubes in her nose now, her illness finally showing its full devastation. The woman who'd commanded a criminal empire for decades looked fragile, almost human. You came? Vivian said, her voice weak. I wasn't sure you would. I came for the photograph, Emma replied. Not for you. Always so cold, Vivian sighed. I taught you to be strong, but perhaps I taught you too well. Sit down, Emma. Please. These are my last moments of freedom. Emma remained standing. You have 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Show me the photograph or I'm leaving. Vivian reached into a bag beside her chair and pulled out an old photo album, its cover faded and water-stained. She opened it to a specific page and held it up. Even through the grainy video feed, I could see the image, my parents young and happy, holding a tiny baby girl. Emma. Me and my brothers were in the photo too, all of us together as a complete family for what must have been the only time in our lives. My mother sobbed beside me. This was taken 3 days before I took you, Vivian said softly. Your mother begged me to keep this. Said that someday, you'd want to know you were loved. I kept it, not out of kindness, but because I thought it would be useful leverage. How wrong I was. Is that your confession? Emma asked. Kidnapping? 27 years of false imprisonment? Raising a child to participate in criminal activities? It's my apology, Vivian corrected. Which is different. I don't regret my life, Emma. I built something from nothing, commanded respect in a world that gave women no power. But I do regret taking you. Not because it was wrong. I'm past caring about morality, but because you never belonged to that world. You were always too much like Sophia, too soft, too concerned with right and wrong. You say that like it's a weakness, Emma said. In my world it was. But you're not in my world anymore, are you? You're free. You won. And Vivian coughed, a terrible rattling sound. I'm dying alone on a plane to nowhere. The FBI has my assets frozen, my network exposed, my legacy destroyed. You did that. You and your bleeding heart. I exposed criminals, Emma said firmly. I stopped you from hurting more people. That's not weakness. That's justice. Vivian smiled faintly. Keep telling yourself that, darling. Maybe someday you'll believe it. She closed the photo album and held it out. Take it. It's yours. The only thing I ever gave you that was worth having. Emma took the album, tucking it under her arm. I don't forgive you. I want you to know that. I don't care that you're dying or that you think you're apologizing. You stole my childhood, my family, my choices. That's unforgivable. I know, Vivian said simply. I never expected forgiveness. I just wanted to see you one more time. To know that despite everything, you survived. You're stronger than I ever was, Emma. You chose humanity over power. That takes courage I never had. 2 minutes, Emma said, checking her watch. One more thing, Vivian said, her expression serious. The mole in the FBI, Richards, he wasn't alone. There's another one higher up, someone I kept as insurance. I never told Richards about them, never told anyone. But before I die, I want to give you this. She pulled out a sealed envelope. Inside is a name and evidence. The last loose end. Make sure they go down with the rest of us. Emma hesitated, then took the envelope. Why? Why tell me this now? Because, Vivian said, her voice fading, you deserve to know that your victory is complete. Every corrupt agent, every paid-off official, every person who enabled this network, let them all fall. Let my legacy be complete destruction rather than scattered remnants. If I can't have my empire, no one can. Emma turned toward the door, then stopped. Did you ever love me? Even a little? Vivian was quiet for a long moment. I don't know if I'm capable of love, child. But I was proud of you. Every day I was proud. And when you chose to betray me, I was somehow proud of that too. You were the one good thing I ever helped create. Even if I created you all wrong. Goodbye, Vivian, Emma said quietly, and walked down the stairs. The moment her feet touched the tarmac, FBI agents swarmed the plane. Vivian didn't resist. She simply sat in her chair, hands folded, as they placed her in handcuffs and read her rights. Emma walked straight to my mother and handed her the photo album. I think this belongs to you. My mother opened it with trembling hands, tears streaming down her face as she looked at pictures of her lost daughter. First birthdays, first steps, family moments frozen in time from before everything fell apart. She's right there, my mother whispered, pointing to a photo of a toddler with curly hair and a huge smile. That's you, Emma. That's my baby girl. Emma's composure finally cracked. She collapsed into my mother's arms, sobbing like the child she'd never been allowed to be. My father wrapped his arms around both of them, and then Jake, Noah, and I joined in. All of us holding each other as FBI agents processed the scene around us, and Vivian Castellano was led away in handcuffs to face justice she'd escaped for nearly 3 decades. Marcus stood nearby, giving us space but watching with a soft expression. When I caught his eye, he smiled. Still want to marry me? I called out to him. Even after the worst wedding day in history? Especially after today, he replied, walking over. You faced down organized crime in a bathrobe and survived. You're exactly the kind of partner I want for life. Agent Reeves approached, clearing her throat. I hate to interrupt, but we need statements from everyone. This is going to be a very long night. Wait, I said suddenly. Emma, the envelope Vivian gave you. The second mole. Emma had almost forgotten about it in the emotional reunion. She opened the envelope carefully and pulled out a single sheet of paper with a photograph clipped to it. Her face went pale. Oh my God, what is it? Marcus asked, suddenly alert. Emma showed us the photograph. It was Assistant Director Thomas Walsh, one of the highest-ranking officials in the FBI's Boston division. The document outlined years of payments, favors, and classified information leaked. Walsh, Marcus breathed. He's been running the Organized Crime Task Force for 8 years. He'd have access to every investigation, every witness, every protected individual. He knew everything, Chen said, having joined our group. Every move we made today, he would have known. He'll run, Agent Reeves said immediately, pulling out her radio. All units, we need immediate apprehension of Assistant Director Thomas Walsh. Consider him armed and dangerous. But before she could finish broadcasting, her phone rang. She answered, listened, and her expression darkened. Understood. Secure the scene, she looked at us. Walsh is dead. Apparent suicide in his office 30 minutes ago. Right around the time the files went public. He knew it was over, Marcus said. Choose death over exposure. Or, Emma said quietly, Vivian had him killed to tie up that loose end herself. She said she wanted complete destruction of her network. Maybe that included people who could testify against her. We'd never know the truth. But Walsh's death closed the last chapter of the Castellano operation. The debriefing took 6 hours. We gave statements separately, then together, corroborating the events of the day. The USB drive's contents were verified, and Emma's testimony provided context for files that went back decades. By the time we were finished, it was almost midnight. The wedding venue had long since been cleared. Guests sent home with apologies and vague explanations about a family emergency. My beautiful dress still hung in the bridal suite. The hem with my mother's careful stitching now evidence in a federal case. But none of that mattered. What mattered was that my family was safe. All of my family, including the sister I'd just met. 3 months later, Marcus and I got married in a small ceremony with just family and close friends. My mother walked me down the aisle alongside my father, both of them using their legal names now, having formally reclaimed their identities as Vincent and Sophia DeLuca. Jake and Noah stood as Marcus's groomsmen, and Emma was my maid of honor, wearing a dress we'd picked out together. Vivian Castellano died in federal custody 6 weeks before the trial, her cancer taking her before justice could. Some said it was mercy. I thought it was fitting that she died powerless, stripped of everything she'd built. The network she'd commanded crumbled rapidly once the evidence went public. 43 arrests in 5 states, including politicians, judges, and law enforcement officials. The investigation would continue for years, but the empire itself was finished. Emma started therapy and moved into an apartment near us. She was learning what it meant to make her own choices, to live without looking over her shoulder. Some days were harder than others, but she was trying. We were all trying. At the reception during the father-daughter dance, my dad held me close and whispered, "I'm sorry your first wedding day was ruined." "It wasn't ruined," I said honestly. "It was just unconventional, and it brought our whole family back together. Even the sister we thought we'd lost. You're remarkably well-adjusted for someone whose wedding was interrupted by organized crime," he joked. "I learned from the best," I replied. "You and Mom survived 27 years of fear and still managed to raise 3 kids who turned out okay. If that's not resilience, I don't know what is." Later, Emma and I stood outside the venue looking at the stars. "Thank you," she said suddenly, "for including me, for wanting me in your life after everything." "You're my sister," I said simply. "That's not negotiable. We lost 27 years. I'm not losing any more time." "I still can't believe how it all worked out," Emma admitted. "If any single thing had gone differently, if Marcus hadn't been FBI, if your parents hadn't hidden that evidence, if I hadn't found the courage to call Mom, we'd all still be trapped. But we're not," I said, taking her hand. "We're free. Finally, completely free." Marcus appeared in the doorway behind us. "Ladies, they're about to cut the cake." And I was promised a cake when I agreed to this whole marriage thing. We laughed and headed inside, where our family waited, scarred but healing, broken but mending, together at last. The morning of my wedding, my entire family had vanished from a locked room. My FBI fiancé's phone had rung with news that shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. And I'd discovered I had a sister I never knew existed. But that afternoon had also brought truth, justice, and the beginning of real freedom. Not the wedding day I'd planned, but exactly the one I needed. Looking for more? We've got 2 amazing stories ready for you right on screen. If this one touched you, these are absolutely worth your time. Click to watch them now. And hey, subscribe and hit that bell to never miss our latest uploads.